Morning. Hey guys, it's Amber. Welcome back to Painted Creek Farm. Today we're back where it all began. This channel began in our goat barn to go over all things goats. Now I am by no means a goat expert. This is just what I've learned over the past couple of years from friends, from goat classes, from being members of goat groups on Facebook. And so I thought I would just go over everything. I have a few goat related things I need to do today. And I figured I would take you guys along with me. We'll do an introduction, we'll do just general care. So let's hop right into it. So you're thinking of getting into goats and you see a bunch of them advertised as clean tested, registered, vaccinated herds. What does that all mean? Clean tested is testing that we do annually for things like Yonis, CAL, and CAE. Yonis looks like it is spelled Johns, but it's actually Yonis, and it is also known as chronic wasting disease. If you've ever seen a video of a deer that's looking super poorly and is spinning in circles, that's chronic wasting disease, and goats can get it as well. Now, I'm not 100% sure if they are the exact same thing, but it is the same symptoms, the same sort of disease, and it will kill your goats. So you really want to be sure that if you are bringing in any goats that you are testing or they are tested for that and that you actually have proof of that. Don't just take someone's word for it. Yonis can live in your soil for years and years and years and years, and it can lay dormant, and you can bring in a goat, think that it's fine, it has Yonis, and then you can basically never keep goats on that same soil again. So be sure that you're testing for that. CAE and CL, I will post what they are right here, what the actual words are for them, but there are two other diseases that goats can get. I believe the CL is actually one that creates pustules on all of their lymph nodes. Super nasty. You don't want to bring that into your herd. So be sure if you're getting goats that you are getting proof that those goats are clean, and if you have goats that you are testing annually for those diseases. We send off to Sage Ag Labs. You just take a blood sample and send it off to them, or you can do it through your veterinarian. The next thing is vaccination. We vaccinate annually with C, D, and T. The CD is Clostridium perfringens type C and D. This is a bacterium that lives in the soil that goats can get, and it's another fatal disease that you don't want to play around with. So make sure you're vaccinating with this. The T is tetanus. Everybody knows what tetanus is. We get vaccinated for tetanus as humans. So that's another thing, if you are bringing in goats, that they are vaccinated and that you are vaccinating every year. You vaccinate moms 4 weeks before they kid, and then you also do a booster on the babies twice. So keep this on hand. The dosing on CD and T is super straightforward. It's not like other types of medication where you're calculating weight and age and all of that. CD and T is 2 cc's, every goat, every age, every size, every kind, all the time, every year. So super easy to try and remember that. You don't really have to do any calculating. Now registered. All of our goats are dairy goats. We have 3 Nigerian dwarves and 1 full-size Nubian. They are all registered with the ADGA, the American Dairy Goat Association. This is something that we chose to go with when we picked out our goats because we wanted to verify lineage. We wanted to be able to sell registered babies. We wanted to have a herd name, which is Painted Creek Farm with ADGA. And we wanted to be able to verify that our goats were both purebred and that they came from good lines. Now we're just starting out and we couldn't afford to really get into the high dollar lines or lineage, but our goats are good goats. They're nice and wide. They have good conformation and they do come from decent lines. We have driven all over the eastern seaboard to pick these guys up, and we're super proud with our start out herd. You absolutely do not have to go with any registered goats. You can get mixed breed goats, whatever is both in your budget and works best for your family. We wanted to have milk here so that I could make goat milk soap, that we could drink the milk. We also wanted to make cheeses and butter and ice cream and all of that. So strong milk lines were important for us. But if that's not your goal, then you can get a pygmy, which is a meat breed. You can get pygmies, you can get myotonics, which are the feigning goats. Those are also a meat breed. Go with whatever is both in your budget and works best for your family. These guys, my Nigerian dwarves, aren't the friendliest things in the world, they're coming around. Now, our Nubian, make sure that you are okay with your neighbors and have good neighbors if you have them, because she is loud and she is obnoxious, and you will see in a little while what I'm talking about. If you've ever been to our farm, you've both heard Fancy and you've seen Fancy, and she's your best friend. So super friendly, but she's large too, so keep that in mind. We do plan on crossing Fancy with our Nigerian dwarf buck, Felix. That will create a mini Nubian. You have to do it that way. You have to have a little buck and a big doe, because the little does can't carry the big babies that the big buck would create. But these guys will also be registerable with MDGA, which is the Mini Dairy Goat Association. We need to get everything straight with them. Trying to get everything straight with ADGA this year was kind of a mess. They got a new system and new people, and it was a process. So I was kind of like, we'll just wait on MDGA for a little bit before I go and try and do all that, because my patience was already fed up with one system. But we got everybody registered. Everybody's in our name, and it's just super cool. I'm super proud to be able to own some registered stock right off the bat. That is registration and vaccination and testing and all of that. If you are selling babies, you want to make sure, you want to be able to say that you have clean tested, vaccinated, registered stock, or at the very least vaccinated and clean tested, so that whoever you're selling them to knows that they're getting clean animals that have been well cared for, that aren't going to potentially mess their paddocks and pastures up or get their other goats sick. Another thing that you're going to want to be keeping an eye on is your goat's FAMACHA scoring, which is where you pull down their eyelid and push that membrane up to check their anemia levels. You want that to be really, really pink and almost red, almost kind of like my shirt. And that will let you know what your goat's parasite load is like. You can also do sort of an external sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't find the word. But you can also do just an external look over and see if your goat's coat is looking poorly, or if they're thin and no matter how much you feed them, they won't really put weight on. This is a good indication that your goat has a heavy worm load and you need to worm them. So with worming, you want to make sure that you're actually treating the correct worms. Not every dewormer out there, not every worming medication is going to treat all classes of worms. So you need to be sure that you're worming with the appropriate medication. I will insert a poster that I got from Goat Emergency Team on Facebook. They are fabulous. If you are thinking of getting goats, or you have goats, or if you even want to learn about goats, make sure to join this group. They're fantastic. They're on call pretty much all the time. It's sort of like that Pets Vet Corner sort of group on Facebook, but for goats. They're wonderful. There's a lot of good information there. They have posters that you can print out all about kidding positions and worming and down goat soup, all of this sort of thing, all the terminology, different medication, dosing, all of that is all available on this group. And it's just kind of an invaluable thing to have in your back pocket. So worming, if you notice that your goat's FAMACHA is really bad, they're really pale or almost white, you want to get on that ASAP, but you want to make sure that you're worming the appropriate thing. You can either have a fecal run at your vet or do what we do, and we send off to Meadow Mist Labs. You just collect a fecal sample from each goat, label it, put it in the fridge until you're ready to mail it. Pack it with we use either frozen paper towels stacked up, wetted, and then frozen, or I actually just got ice mailers. You can put the samples in there, ship it off to Meadow Mist. She's wonderful. She will get back to you in just a couple of days with all of your goats listed, and then all the different classes of worms and what their load is. So if they just have a very minimal load, you don't really need to worry about deworming them. If that goat looks okay, I'd rather to let the goat battle it on their own. But if they have a heavy worm load and they're not handling that worm load appropriately, then you need to go ahead and get some medication on board, get some antiparasitics in there, and take care of that. A heavy worm load can really be detrimental to your goat. It can cut off any nutrient absorption that they are getting, and it can make that goat go downhill pretty quickly. All goats, all animals have some sort of worm load. It's just a matter of if that goat is handling it well, or if those worms are thriving in their systems. So different classes are different things. Make sure that you're sending off fecal samples. Do not just throw any sort of wormer at your goat. You're going to create superworms and create resistance. That's just a no-no. Make sure that you are having fecals run before you just start worming, because then you're going to be giving a medication that isn't even needed and isn't going to be doing anything for your goat. Now, if you have goats, there's some things that you just kind of want to have on hand. I like to always have selenium, which we give monthly. We are in a selenium deficient area, and the selenium helps the goats to absorb vitamin E. So I keep a selenium vitamin E paste on hand. It is inexpensive. You can buy it at Tractor Supply. I believe adults get 4 milligrams and babies get 2 milligrams. If you have a kid that is born rocking back on their pasterns, that's a vitamin E deficiency sign, and you want to get that selenium vitamin E paste on board ASAP. We also keep Jumpstart on hand. It has a lot of probiotics in it, and Probios is another thing that you can keep on hand. We keep vitamin B paste on hand. You can also get it for injection, like the liquid kind that you actually inject into your goat for a little bit faster delivery. But we keep the paste, and that has been, it's worked well for us. If you ever have a goat that's just kind of down, kind of depressed looking, give them some vitamin B or some Jumpstart, and that'll kick their systems. It'll help stimulate their rumen, get their rumen back where it needs to be, and get them nice and plump and happy again. Now, saying that, they're rumen, goats are ruminants, which means that when they eat, their feed passes through a bunch of different chambers and it actually ferments. So they're not like horses or rabbits. They're not monogastric. Think cows are ruminants, elk are ruminants, giraffes, guinea pigs are ruminants. So they need constant forage of some kind. We offer hay here because we don't have a ton of grass or browse. Goats aren't really like grass eaters. They like browse, things that are stemmy, think leaves and little branches, things like that. They love yucca, anything that's kind of stemmy and hard that they can chew and get into their rumen that can sit and ferment. They're so cute. I swear my goats are, don't tell the horses, but my goats are my favorite animals that I have. And I love being out here. So if you see me getting distracted, it's because they're the cutest things in the world, and I can see them through our little half door over here. So feed. We feed a mixture of a texturized goat feed, alfalfa pellets, and black oil sunflower seeds, also known as Boss. This is kind of how you'll see them referred to online. The texturized goat feed and the alfalfa cubes are high in calcium, so we feed the black oil sunflower seeds both for coat and for the phosphorus that is contained in them. You want to balance out the calcium and the phosphorus to prevent urinary calculi. We also feed a loose mineral. We top dress their feed with a loose mineral and offer it free choice. This loose mineral contains ammonium chloride, and I'll show that to you in a minute. But it does contain ammonium chloride, which will help prevent and break up those urinary calculi, which are kind of like crystals that form from all the extra calcium. So you really want to be sure, especially in young bucks and in bucks, that you are keeping an eye out, making sure that they're going to the bathroom, that they're peeing okay, and that no blockages are forming. You can typically see if you have a blockage. He'll just kind of be crouched over. He can't pass anything. And that's when you want to get a vet involved or learn how to cut what's called their pizzle. Cut that yourself and open up that passageway so that he can pee and get those stones through his urethra. Another thing that I didn't mention earlier that I forgot to mention is copper bolus. They are little capsules with little copper rods inside. If you see your goat start to get kind of a crappy coat, or you see their tails start to split and the tip of their tail gets bald and it's called fishtail, that means that they need a copper supplement. We do this, I think, every 6 months to every year, just depending on what our goats look like. Now, when I last administered our copper bolus, you'll want to do this with a balling gun, and it just shoves it right down into the back of their throat. We use a little bit of peanut butter and stick the bolus in there. When I did it last, I missed and didn't get it down into the back of their throat, and the goats actually ended up chewing it. So I'm gonna need to do it a little bit quicker this time. It's supposed to sit down and inside their systems and have like a slow release effect. But if they chew it and crunch it up, it obviously gets used up a little bit quicker than it would have. So I have a couple of girls that I'm gonna need to go ahead and dose again. But that's no problem. Like I said, I keep it on hand. We use Ultra Cruise, and I'll show that to you in a minute, but you can also use like copper Sure, things like that. Now, if you are in an area where copper is abundant in your soil, then you don't really need to worry about it all that much. Keep an eye on your goats, check their coats and that sort of thing. I've noticed that black goats, when they turn like a goldy color, that's a copper deficiency and you need to get copper on board. Those guys seem to kind of run through it a little bit faster for whatever reason. I will do a goat barn tour because obviously shelter is very important. Goats are super hardy and like cold hardy, but they still need somewhere to get out of the wind. That's the main thing. Temperature is not really all that big of a deal, but if you have goats, you know that goats absolutely hate rain. So you want to make sure that you have somewhere where your whole herd can get out of the elements, get away from the wind, get away from the rain, and that in that barn they have water available and hay available at all times, as well as their minerals. We offer a little space in here. They can all get out of the elements, and I bring in, if I know that it's going to be like raining for a few hours, I'll bring in a bucket of water and put that in here. But they do have a hay manger inside their barn as well. I think that that's really everything that I kind of wanted to go over for as far as like general care. I am going to introduce y'all to everybody. Pfeiffer real quick. Pfeiffer is due in June and Freckles is due in July if their breedings both took. They are bred to Felix, he's less than a year old, our little Nigerian dwarf buck. I'm super excited. Real fast, I'll go over colors. Now, when you see Pfeiffer, she is a gold and white Nigerian dwarf doe. She has brown eyes. Freckles is a buckskin with abundant white, so she actually looks white, but she actually has a pattern, and she has brown eyes as well. Both of these girls were horned, but they were disbudded when they were babies. It just kind of helps keep them safe, keeps the handler safe, and if I ever wanted to show them, you're not actually allowed to show a horned goat in an ADGA show ring. And then we have Felix. Felix is our chocolate Cou Claire Nigerian dwarf buck. He is both polled and blue-eyed, and he's registered. All of these guys are. And then we have Fancy, who is a full-size Nubian with brown eyes. I believe her color is called just red. I'm not well versed in Nubian colors, and a little bit better with the Nigerian dwarf colors. There's a lot of them. Now, Nigerian dwarf goats can actually be any color. With ADGA, it's not like they have a set color that they have to be. A lot of times you'll see them with moon spots and all sorts of different variations. But our guys are gold, buckskin, and chocolate Cou Claire. Now, chocolate Cou Claire is just a color modification. It is a normal Cou Claire is actually black and tan, but our guy has the chocolate modifier, so his black is actually brown. And he is giraffe polled, which is, he was born naturally hornless, but he does have like little nubbins. Like he has like little mounds instead of being completely like clean-headed. But the three girls are horned but disbudded, and our boy is polled. You don't want to breed polled goats to polled goats because you run the risk of having sterile females or just sterile goats in general. And you can also run the risk of breeding hermaphrodites and getting hermaphrodite. The studies on this say that that's really, 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 really rare, or like a sterility issue, but it's still just kind of best practice not to breed them together. If you have a backyard herd and you don't really care, then do what you will, but I would hate to breed a polled goat to a polled goat and end up selling a doe to somebody who was sterile or hermaphrodite, and you know that goat has issues down the road. Another thing. What are you doing, Fancy? Fancy would like to come and be my friend. Hi. Trying to think if there's anything else that I need to go over. Don't think so. I think that that's really kind of it. As far as general care, we went over feed, we went over hay, we went over vaccination, went over testing, fecals and everything. Oh, hoof care. So you want to check your goats at least every month and see what their hoof shape is like. They can get all sorts of nasty things, kind of like horses. They can get thrush and rot, all sorts of gross stuff going on in their feet. And that is the foundation for your animal. So it's really important that you check on your goat's feet. I will show you what tool I use to do their feet with. You can do it yourself. There are tons of resources here on YouTube. Check out Blue Cactus Dairy Goats. She has fabulous videos on hoof maintenance, but there's all sorts of videos out there on how to do it yourself. It is not super hard. The hardest part is actually holding the goat. So if you have dairy goats, which is what our guys are, if you have a milking stand, you can put them on the milking stand and that makes your life a whole lot easier. I just have my husband hold mine right now since we don't have a milking stand yet, but it has gone fine. The little girls are easy enough to hold. They're not super big, and then Fancy's pretty good about it anyways. But you can just use regular old garden shears for the most part. Now, when they get older, the dairy goats are known to have super hard feet, so you might want to look into something like Hoof Boss or that sort of trimming tool, but those are a little pricey for us right now. And the shears have been working just fine. I'm going to show you guys them eating. Super happy babies. Hello, ma'am. But this is our goat barn. When it gets really cold, we're actually going to close this up, but when it gets really cold, I bed this down really well and make sure that they have tons of hay that they can kind of snuggle up into. That's their minerals and their manger that I need to fill for inside. They don't really stay in here right now because it's so pretty out. But I just have a little half door that Fancy jumps on constantly to come and get scratches. You can see she doesn't have horns. She was just budded. Big old Fancy. Nubians have ginormous ears. This is what their feed looks like when it's all mixed up. I like to leave the grain on the bottom because that's what they want the most, and I want to make sure they get everything. So this is the selenium. You can buy this right at Tractor Supply. I actually gave it yesterday, so it's kind of dirty. But this is the selenium vitamin E gel that you give. There's the dosing. 4 grams for an adult, 2 grams every 30 days. And it just has a dial. And you just scale it down to whatever dosing you need. We normally just do every 5. And that seems to work really well for our goats. Then I've just got some alcohol. You always want to have that on hand for injections. And I've got cotton pads. This is actually drawn up. I need to throw this away. I don't even know what it is anymore. I think it's Tylen. And then a little container of ivermectin. Get this down. Make life easier. Got the 18 gauge 1-inch needles. These are good just for pretty much everything. They're kind of like a universal needle. I can use them on my pigs. I can use them on the goats. Do all sorts of injections with these. Keeps me from having all sorts of needles on hand. Baby wipes. This is a goat drencher. This helps to get it way in the back of the throat. I use this for cord. 2 of my goats had coccidiosis when I brought them in. They were both young goats and they both had a little slight coccidia problem. So I drenched them with cord. Cord burns like crazy, so you want to make sure that you get it all the way in the back of the throat. And this little guy helps with that. VetRx, this is great to keep on hand if you have any sort of respiratory illness. You can use it on all of your animals. I've used it on the goats during days when it was a little chilly and they just kind of had some congestion in their noses. Think of it sort of like an animal vapor rub or Vicks. It just helps to clear out those airways, any little bugs that are in there, and open everything up so that you have a fully functioning respiratory system. This is the Safeguard that I mentioned earlier. This works for a lot of different things, but you want to make sure that you're dual worming when you worm, that you're worming with this and then something else. I think that it's this for 2 days and the other for 1 day, like a moxidectin or something like that. Use this and then that in conjunction, and you'll have a greater success rate with parasite elimination. And you want to redo this in about, I think it's 10 to 14 days. Do the same cycle over again. And this big guy is the red cell. I have a gigantic tub of it. I didn't really need all this. You just need a tiny little bit. But if you do have an anemic goat, this guy right here will help to get their iron levels back up and help them to produce more red blood cells and get them nice and in shape. I think that that's it. These are our, I have mice and all sorts of things making beds up here, but these are our little goat treats. I do keep MTG on hand because mites are a sulfur problem. So if your goat is low in sulfur, MTG will help from the outside in. So use some MTG if you are having any sort of mite issue on top of internal or subcutaneous ivermectin to get those mites gone. Now, I said earlier that we feed minerals. These are the minerals that we use. I've seen my goats are in, you know, fine shape. So like I said, it contains the ammonium chloride. And these are the minerals that it contains and their percentages. Now, when you're feeding minerals, you want to make sure that you are giving a loose mineral, not a mineral block. Goats don't have the best tongues in the world, and they need loose minerals in order to be able to actually absorb them. Mineral blocks, they're going to create holes in it, but they're not actually going to get all that much into their actual systems. It is shedding season for our goats. It's the spring and everything on the farm is shedding. I use this to help brush them and get their cashmere out. You can see that it is well used and well loved. I used this on my horses first, and now I'm using it on my goats. And I'm going to try and find the tool that I use on their feet. God only knows where that is. These are the tools that I use to trim feet. These are by Fisker. They're just garden shears, and they work fabulously. Fancy's done with her breakfast, and so she's gonna bug the heck out of me. But they lock and unlock. They actually have a serrated edge, and then they have a flat like knife edge, which is really great for like evening your cuts out. You want to make sure that you're trimming your goat's feet kind of like horses every 6 to 8 weeks or so. I try and check them every month, but life gets crazy and they do kind of fall by the wayside. But I am at least checking them, make sure there's no issues or anything like that every day. I wanted to also run through our cabinet inside and show you guys what I also keep on hand in here. There's not really a difference between inside and outside. It's just that I haven't had to use these things yet, or they need to be refrigerated. So let me show you real quick. This is the CD&T vaccine. As you can see, it's 20 milliliters. It contains 10 doses. This is just the brand we use. This cabinet is a mess, but this is Silence. This is for mites and things like that. It's just a pour-on insecticide. Then we have Corid, which treats coccidiosis. I keep this on hand for everything, for my goats and my chickens. This is a Silence concentrate. You put this in a sprayer and actually spray the like living arrangements for your goats. This is the copper bolus that I was telling you about. So these are the little, excuse my nails. These are the little boluses, and they go inside this guy. This is a bowling gun, and they just stick right in there, and then you push it and it pushes it out. I just use peanut butter, and that helps it to stick inside. This is Tylen. It's just an antibiotic injectable. We've got some lube in case I need to take anybody's temperature, or if I need to lube up and go in to assist a doe when she's kidding. Oh, I don't think my thermometer is in here. I've got some more needles. And then this is the Sage Ag Labs. This is the kit to do the blood testing. You can see the little vials there, and that's what you mail off when you're ready to do your annual testing. These are the little ice packs that I use. So you just soak these in water and then you put them in the freezer, and then you can keep your fecal samples and things cool. In the mail, let's see. This is the vitamin B paste that I was telling you guys about in case you need to kind of jumpstart anybody. And after you give Corid, with the Corid, they end up thiamine deficient. So this boosts back up their thiamine, because thiamine is what the coccidia thrives on. So that kind of strips them of that. So this boosts them back up, gives them some probiotics back inside their rumen. And then this is Jumpstart. It's a big time probiotic, heavy duty. Give this to kids and mamas after they are done with birthing, to get them a good start and jumpstart them. It does literally what it says. And you can give this to all kinds of animals, as you can see. Good thing to keep on your farm and to give everybody a little boost. But I think that is it for our medicine cabinet. Got things kind of everywhere, so you know how it is. So now that we've kind of gone over care, let's go and meet the goats. I will tell you everybody's name and when they are due and that sort of thing. Now, my Nigerian dwarves aren't the friendliest things in the world, but this is Freckles. This is Felix, our little buck. That's Pfeiffer, who's super extra not friendly. Hi, guys. These two are getting friendlier because they've learned that scratches are actually really nice and they're itchy because it's springtime. I don't know if y'all know this, but goats don't actually have top teeth because ruminants don't have top teeth. And it is the wildest thing ever. This absolute crazy beast is Fancy, and she is absolutely wild. Feral. Why are you eating my shirt? Okay. You know, she is a crazy beast. And if you have watched any of my farm vlogs and heard a goat screaming, it has been this woman. And if you have come to my farm, you know Fancy and you love Fancy, and she's your best friend because she thinks she is a dog and that she belongs in the house, and she objects to being in the field and would love to come and live with us. And then this is Felix, my little sweet boy. He is going to be our herd sire. Well, hopefully he is our herd sire, and my little girls are pregnant. Beautiful face. My husband actually built this hay feeder. So the lid opens up and it has an arm that you can use to stand it up while you're filling it. Fancy's going to show it to you. She says, yes, this is how we stand on it. It's great. She actually has tried to jump over it before. That was a really interesting time. Felix likes to sleep down here in the manger. Oh my God. Y'all just got to be in everything, don't you? So that's our hay feeder. Like I said, you always want to make sure that this is full. They will let you know, especially Fancy, if it has run out. But I usually get to fill it before they ever do run out. It's kind of down to the stemmy bits, which are really good for their rumen, but aren't the tastiest things in the world, so they're just kind of picking at it. And this is our goat barn. Well, it's our current state of our goat barn. If you watched one of my older videos, you know that we are adding onto this and adding a back section here. That's going to be our kidding stalls. I'm trying to decide if we are going to split this one in half and have 2 kidding stalls for the littles and then 1 big one for over here for Fancy. We're also going to make another paddock on the back here so that the moms and babies have spots to be out without all the other friends, and I can keep them separated even from the other moms. Hi guys. But that's our plan with that. In the goat barn, you want to make sure that they can get away from drafts. Goats are super hardy and super cold hardy especially, but it's a mess right now. I'm actually going to clean it, which is part of the reason why I'm out here. But this is our other hay manger that I need to fill. This is just their interior one. They actually don't really eat out of that one all that much. And then this is where their loose minerals are kept. And we just have windows so I can see them in the garden. We just have a little half door. All of these marks, Those are all from Fancy, from her running and jumping onto the door and trying to break in there. And then there's their salt block. And then inside it's a mess because I just went through everything, but this is where we keep all of our feed. I need to get more casters for these two, but I keep them on rollers. This is their feed, alfalfa pellets and black oil. Sunflower seeds, Fancy. And then I just have all of our tools and everything in here. This is also our garden shed, so it's kind of a mess and has a ton in here. I need more organization tools in here, but life's just been a little busy to be worrying about organizing the goat barn. Like, I'm telling y'all, she's a dog. And then there's this thing. Happy, what are you doing? Oh my God. You know. But yeah. Oh, also real quick, shameless plug, if you like my hat, make sure to check out the link below and check out our Etsy store. I have a few goat related items in there. I know that I absolutely love goats, and I actually have a hard time finding like gifts and little trinkets, things like that. Like hats, I pretty much always have a hat on out here. Keeps the hair out of my face. Ow, Fancy. So if you like it, check it out. If you want entertainment, get you a Nubian. They're hysterical. We had some people come and look at some rabbits, so I kind of got interrupted a little bit. But now I'm gonna go and grab some shavings so that I can clean out this goat barn, because it has been deep littered for the past few months in the winter. I just didn't want to clean out anything. Help everything breaking down kind of helps to keep it warm in there. Rained last night and the horses are thoroughly enjoying themselves and rolling today. You sleepy, buddy? Hey, man. Hi. Hi, sweet boy. I don't have anything. Hi, buddy. Yeah, you're all dirty. You're all dirty. God. God. They're filthy. You're so dirty. You watched one of my earlier videos, you know that I can't stand using tools, so I'm using my trusty wheelbarrow and heading up to the barn to go and grab some shavings. At the pack and play. What'd you find, Bull? Oh, I didn't even say hi to Way. Hi, Way. Hi, baby. Can we just take a minute to enjoy how pretty it is out here? So who knows if the goats are going to leave this standing. Last time I had my tripod out here, Felix knocked it down. Fancy's already walking all over it, so we shall see. Hi, you're peeing again. But I'm just going to show you guys how I kind of clean things up a bit. You'll get to see the goats kind of come and go too. Like I said, you can see it's kind of a mess. We've been using deep litter. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to clean up some of the hay. I'm not going to really do a stripping because I still want to keep some of this bedding in here. I don't want to take it all out and waste anything. I wish you guys could see her right now. She's just ridiculous. Fancy, stop it. But yes, so we're going to try and clean this up and get this situation taken care of. Excuse me. So you can see, like over here, where the hay is just getting really thick and matted. I unfortunately don't really have a way to get a wheelbarrow in this barn yet. Long story. Anyways, so I have to throw this all over the back of the fence into our little manure pile behind the barn. I want to show y'all how helpful she was. Come here. Fancy. Please look at her. She was so helpful. She has shavings all over her. doing? Pretty girl. Well, I've got everything pretty much down to bare bones now. And Fancy's eating the tripod. Go away! Go away! Go! So now I'm gonna get a couple bags of shavings and bed this back up. You know anything about keeping animals, you know that everything has a multi-purpose. So I use my scissors to open this. Can you not poke yourself in the head? If you keep scissors in your pocket, be careful. Make sure no goats impale themselves on them and that you don't impale yourself on them. So, there's our freshly bedded stall. I'm covered in shavings. Nancy's covered in shavings. Everyone has shavings on them. It's dusty because I just stirred everything up, so they're going to sneeze. But I'm going to go ahead and fill up this hay manger and fill up their mineral space. I need to clean it out first because they've got all sorts of stuff in there. Stop chewing on that. Like I said before, this is their inside hay manger. They don't really use this one. I think it was only empty because the other one ran out the other day and it was raining, so they were inside. But I rarely have to fill this one up. Of course, now she's going to use it because I said that. Where Fancy's being going like having a fall. Nancy. Yeah, you get that every morning. You don't really need it. You know. You're all dirty now, Pants. As you can see, everyone is very happy. Fancy is gnawing away. Fancy's going to show off that she can reach the top of the manger. We do offer this salt block. They seem to really like it. Sorry, Felix is scared of the tripod. You got a bug on you, buddy? Why are you flicking your foot? Hi, Fifi. Hi, bud. Glad you're so cute. Check everything out, make sure the girls are okay. He's gonna knock that over. Oh, nope, scared of it. There's Viper. That little girl in the back there. You gonna come and say hi? Okay. He's like, no, you're not allowed to catch me. Can I scratch you? Can I get scratches? His coat is a mess right now. He's losing his baby coat and winter coat all at the same time and getting his big boy hair in, so his coat is a mess. He could also probably use a dose of copper. Pfeiffer here loves the salt block. Hey girl, you're looking a little low these days, mama. Pfeiffer is due in June and Freckles over there is due in July, but you can see how wide Pfeiffer is getting. It's a great view of your behind, little lady. You can see her nice little teats under there. It's getting hard to scratch that back in, huh, Mom? You did good, Daddy. Well, guys, I think that's pretty much it for this video. If I missed anything or if there's something that you have questions about, please feel free to ask. Either message me here or shoot me an email or ask on the farm page. I'm super happy to answer any and all questions. It kind of helps me with both content and with learning. So we're in it, and it can be a little bit difficult to kind of come back out of it and go over the basics. So if I did miss anything, ask away. But that is these crazy guys, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day, guys. Bye.